Hello there. In today's episode of Ye Olde Truck, we're going to discuss changing your gear oil and breaking in new sets of gears and axles and what to look for and when to do it. We're going to install these sweet diff covers. We're going to install this super rad pinion gear. And we're going to install this sweet diff cover. So stick around. Hope your day's going good. We're going to do a little work on Merle today here. We're going to do some heavy duty diff covers front and back from Rough Stuff. We're going to do our gear oil service. These gears have about 500 miles on them, so it's time to change this fluid out. In the front, I got a 1350 pinion yoke, so I can finally order my drive shaft now that I got this all where it's going to stay. And then we'll replace this breather that's too short. And on the back, we're also going to do a cover and a fluid service on the back because those gears and that locker is all new too. So the reason we're doing the service now, I'm right at about 500 miles, and with new gears and lockers, you need to break them in properly so that everything continues to work correctly. So from Yukon's own website, when you're putting a new gear set in, if you haven't done this before, just for your own knowledge here, they want you to drive light-footed at low speeds for the first 15 to 20 miles, and then let the differential cool down. Do that every 100-ish miles, which I did pretty close to that. Avoid heavy acceleration during the first 100 miles of the break-in period. Change the gear oil after the first 500 miles. The reason you want to do that is it helps remove any metal particles and phosphoric coatings that may have been shed by the gear during break-in. So this may or may not have a little bit of man glitter in it. We'll find out when we open it up, but if there's a little bit in there, that's totally normal. That's bearings breaking in, that's gears breaking in. If there's an excessive amount, then something's wrong. You know what I mean? If it looks like you're pouring just straight metal flake out of there, you got a problem. If it's a little glittery, it's not really a big deal. And then they want you to drive at least 500 miles before you tow anything. And then the first time you do tow something, they kind of want you to follow their initial break-in rules to get it used to having that much of a load on it. Like for your first trip, go less than 15 miles, then let everything kind of cool down. Do that a couple times. And then after that, you should be ready to rip. So we're going to tear this apart, get this new cover on, get that yoke changed, get this going, and then we'll bump around to the rear and get the rear done. Make sure this truck stays good to go for a lot of miles. So I'm 1-ton swapped, so all my hardware from the 1-ton is 9/16. If you still got half-ton axles, that may be different for you. It might be like half-inch. You just have to test and find out. And all this gear break-in information is pretty much universal, depending on what axle you have. They're all more or less the same. So if you see, I left this one in and this one in, but they're loose so that we can break it free. And I just do that. I've kind of learned that over the years to keep from making a giant mess. Man, I got this thing glued down good. Here, let's let that drain. Not really seeing too much glitter though. You can see there's nothing, not all extra glittery in here or anything. And I'll bring you in here, you can see your wear pattern here. Right there, right in the middle. You can see where it's kind of eating on the markup, or the setup paint that you use when you're setting up rear end. I'm right in the middle of my gears. go. So that's looking real good. We'll let that drain. I'll swap this hose out. There we go. You know, ran it up and behind the cross member. I'm going to flip this camera around. And we'll get this guy on. Alright. Get up in here, not a whole lot of room in here. Alright, so pop this old one off. There we go. So on the Dana 60s, or at least on every Dana 60 I've done, there isn't a crush washer in here to set your pinion and to set your preload and all that. It's a solid shim. So you don't need to worry so much about over crushing it or under crushing it. I think the torque spec on these is like 200 to 300 for the solid shim ones. So you can really just take your old one off. I forgot to grab RTV, but you throw a little RTV on the splines, pop her on, or put a little lube on your seal contact surface. This is a new seal, so I'm not worried about that. Put a little grease on there so you're not going in dry onto your seal. Pop her on, send her home, and tighten to spec. So I am going to go grab a little sealant for here. We'll send this thing home, torque her to 250 right in the middle of the torque spec. I figure should be cool. And we'll get back around to the front, finish cleaning that up, and get to it. And then we can get on to the rear. Oh my gosh. Tighter than a dolphin's butthole in here. Alright. So, new one. I'm going to RTV the splines. You don't need a ton of it, but you want to make sure that you got enough in there to get a nice good seal. Let me do a tiny bit more. I'm just doing a little at a time. Something kind of like that. I don't know how well you can see. So you got a nice little smear in there. And then, get this crap off my finger before I get it everywhere. You want to lube this up. I've got Sil Glide, so that's what I'm going to use. But you could use like a little touch of oil, or you just kind of want to make sure that it's wet with something that's not bad to be down there. So that way it doesn't tear your seal up. That goes on there. Washer. Little Loctite. Get that started. Send it home. Now we got to torque it. So, like I was saying, from everything I've been able to find, the torque spec is 200 to 300. So we are going to go right at 250. Right in the middle. Call it good. There we go. We'll wedge that where we can get good torque on this. And then there you go. Now, instead of a little tiny baby 1310, we're going to run a 1350 on this guy with a nice upgraded freaking high-speed Yukon shaft or Yukon pinion. Alright, so this old giddy up was RTV'd on. We got to get all that off. And you want to be careful getting all this crap off. You don't want to get it in your differential. You want to keep all the junk outside of it. Alright, and that was just one of these Scotch-Brite pads. You don't want to like sit here and sand this with sandpaper, because that can jack it up. It'll make it uneven, then it won't, you might have trouble sealing it. The Scotch-Brite stuff just kind of takes the old sealant off so that your new stuff will stick better. Or I'm going to use a gasket on this one because these covers come with a lube locker gasket. So it gives it a clean surface for that to stick to. And I don't care what anyone else says, washers are directional. You've got your smooth side and then the side that they're stamped out to, and they've got that harder lip. Unless you have a reason that you're trying to like protect it, like maybe you're putting it on some new paint or something like that, sharp side goes down. That way it grabs better. If you don't agree with that, you let me know in the comments why I'm wrong and why you either put them the other way, or if you don't think washers are directional and you're delusional, tell me why. Alright, we got our lube locker seal. So this has already been cleaned. See? So we'll line this guy up on here, get 2 bolts through, hold it in place, and then make sure I'm dry, I'm good there. Let's put this thing on. I don't like the hardware that came with this. I am going to end up replacing this hardware. So we'll fill this up, call it good for now. And I'm going to get better, lower profile hardware for this. I'm not. And the other thing with this fill hole, they put it up high, so it's up here. So I'm going to want it where I kind of have to reach my finger in there to feel the oil so that it's down where it should be and not way up too high. Because like on the stock cover, you can see how much lower it was. It was like right about here. So things to pay attention to. I guess I'll just have to lounge out under this one. So we'll get these all off. Get this to where we're loosening. Same thing, we're going to leave one kind of half undone. So if you're not new here and you're wondering, Rob, where'd all your frickin' hair go? I went and got a haircut yesterday, trying to be all funky fresh for the weekend, and I always go to this little old Asian lady that's like right around the corner for my work, and told her I want, you know, the same thing, like number 1 on the side, high fade up. If I do anything with it, I slick it back, but I usually don't do anything with it. And she just like straight number 1 shaved it like way up to here, and then it was like this weird little cotton ball on top of my head, which looked ridiculous. But it was kind of so high up, there wasn't really any saving it. And you know, like it's kind of a little hole in the wall place. I figured they're probably kind of struggling, so I didn't want to be like mean to her. So I got home, my wife laughed at me because it did look ridiculous. And I was just like, well, we're just gonna buzz this all down and start over. It's only hair, it grows back. Hi there. So this rear should be more or less like the front, right? This is a new gear set, a new locker. There might be a little bit of glitter in here. It's not really a problem unless there's a lot. A little bit is to be expected. And of course, I glued the bejesus out of this one on too. so that it wouldn't leak. And not only is it not leaking, it don't want to come off. There we go. Let's see what we got here. I don't know if it'll show up on the camera, but you can see there's a little bit of glitter in here, but it's real small. That's just that braking material, that phosphate coating, all that junk wearing off. That's super normal. So nothing is looking overly weird back here. And that's my wear pattern. About the same as the front. So we are looking golden. All right, go get that Scotch-Brite. Cover that up to keep most of the crap out. We'll buzz it down, hose it out one more time. Get it done. I think we're gonna be good. So we'll do the same thing. Two bolts to get it started. And I'll get matching bolts on these for the front, but I'll swap them out later when they come in one at a time. So these will work for now, so I can get fluid in it and drive it if I need to. And then I'll order up some button heads tonight, like some black ones or some stainless ones or something. Something fancy to pop in here. Make it look all fancy. Wonder if I could get gold button heads. I'll have to look. That'd be sweet. Completely tacky and completely unnecessary. Which is perfect for me. Because if there's one thing that fits me, it's tacky and unnecessary. Should be like my nickname. Tacky and unnecessary. Actually, you know what? Leave that in the comments. If you want me to make a sticker that says tacky and unnecessary, and make it tacky and unnecessary, and you want one, put tacky and unnecessary in the comments, and if I get enough people that comment that in the next month, I'll get some made and I'll send them to all you guys that said it. But in the next month, so maybe like, see, it's almost October, so by the end of October, tacky and unnecessary, I'll get like gold holographic or something freaking ridiculous. It'll be awesome. It'd also be awesome if I could get my friggin' socket out of here. Very tight. And these lube locker gaskets don't have a torque spec. They just say, whatever your differential wants, that's torquey enough. So we're just going with good and tight. Because I'm going to end up redoing these all here in the next week whenever my fancy, hopefully gold bolts show up. Alright, I'll flip this camera around, show you where the fill hole is on a 14 bolt if you don't know. We'll fill this thing up, and frickin' Bob's your uncle, man. We're ready to rip. As promised, there's your fill hole. And I left the plug way over there. Alright, take two. As promised, fill hole with the plug this time. And this is probably going to take the entire gallon because these 1-ton differentials are thirsty. Alright, well, that's the whole gallon. Let's see where that got us. Oh, I can see in there it's just below this fill line, which is cool because the truck's at an angle anyways. So that should be about perfect. So we got that. That's just your regular old 3/8. Give a little swipe down. And we're ready to party. So that's my video about breaking in gears and lockers and putting on sweet diff covers and stuff. So, if you want to see how to build a sweet bumper like that, click here. If you want to see more truck shenanigans, click here. And remember, dude, if you don't get started, you ain't never getting finished.